Hello and welcome to Business Matters, the show about people behind businesses that help make Tacoma a great place to live and work. I'm your host, Mike Wark, and on today's show, we visit Flags of Flying, a Tacoma business specializing in what else? Flags. And Andrew Fry will provide advice on where to go for advice in our segment of Tacoma Means Business. And today my guest is Mark Merrill, who's the Executive Director of Shared Housing Services. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. This is a little bit of a different take on the show for us because you operate a nonprofit.
Correct.
Which is helping the economy and businesses in the region in many different ways, which we'll talk about. But it's also interesting because of your background as a corporate leader and as an entrepreneur. So it'll be fun to explore that. But before we get into all that, let's start with what is Shared Housing Services?
Shared Housing Services is an organization that we work with individuals, families, and youth that are experiencing homelessness. And what we do is we are, I like to say, very innovative on finding ways to get them into a safe, stable home so that they can pursue, more education, pursue jobs, job training in the community. We've been around, we're the greatest secret in Tacoma. We've been around since 1991.
91.
So 24 years, our 25th anniversary is coming up next year. We're excited.
And you have tons of experience seeing that if somebody gets into housing and gets stabilized in their lives a little bit, they're able to go get a job. Support the economy that way and make an income so they can be a part of the community.
Oh, completely. I mean, it is the benefits. We could go on for a 2-hour show.
Right. With the examples, because you've seen it over and over.
Over and over.
Yes.
It's very tough for anyone to be able to look for a job or to actually keep a job if they're not in a stable environment. If they're couch surfing or living in a car or find themselves in a shelter. That's very disruptive. So by getting them back into a stable environment, it allows them to pursue all those and become very productive. This
is also a benefit for the owner of the home. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're very unique. King County doesn't have a program. Thurston doesn't. We're very unique to Pierce County here in Washington in that we have host home providers. And a lot of times they're older or maybe elderly. They're needing that little extra income. Social Security doesn't quite cut it to be able to continue to live in their home, or maybe even just some services, some cooking or cleaning around the house.
Which helps take care of things there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by matching them with a home seeker that is needing an affordable place to live and to be stabilized, they're able to help each other, and that helps the home provider from not having to move into, say, assisted living or a senior home. It allows them to stay in their own home that they kind of can continue to thrive in, and also in the neighborhood.
And they're benefiting somebody, and they're strengthening the neighborhood, as you say.
Exactly. The neighborhoods stay much more stable and stronger. By having that help, the houses don't get run down. And the beauty of it is the program works with existing housing stock. So we don't have to wait for affordable housing to get passed and built. Our inventory is out there.
It's always out there.
It's always out there.
And you must have a process. I mean, there is sort of a business component to this. This is an organization where you're finding people who are going to provide the housing, helping them understand what their responsibilities are, and then you're reaching out to people who are experiencing homelessness. What are the mechanisms that make it work? Is there an application? How do you manage all this?
There's completely a step process, and we're not overnight placement organization, because we really want to make sure we get that match. So
a good match.
So we start with the application, and the application really gives us their background and their preferences from both the home provider and the home seeker. Fill these out. What kind of person would they like to share their home with? What services do they need? How much rent do they need, or how much rent can they afford? All those type of things. And we do criminal background checks to make sure everything is okay. And then after all that, we actually come in and they do an interview with our case manager. And that's just really that kind of talking, let's get to know. So when we make a referral to a homeowner, I think this person could work, we have a pretty good idea already. And
They've already met each
Yeah.
other. They have an idea of what the arrangement will look like.
Exactly.
And then do you monitor it after that point?
We do. We, if a referral and acceptance and they move in, then we do follow-up calls, and even if we can, maybe even swing by, call it and see how the house is doing and everything, and we continue that out. We do it, try to get it done at least weekly or bi-weekly right at the start, and then as things are progressing, we try to touch base every couple months just to make sure both sides are getting what they need, and if we can offer any other services such as job training, recommendations or whatever.
So you help connect them with the resources in the community that help them take the next steps after you stabilize them.
Completely.
Now, it's interesting to me that your involvement with this organization actually started as a volunteer, as an external supporter, an entrepreneur in the community. You owned a business, Port 4, successful wine bar in Proctor, and you supported this organization because you're interested in it.
From the get-go, it was the mission of giving back to the community and the need that's out there, for those that are needing a home. And we were very fortunate. We happened to have a business that some of the board members would frequent. Even I had worked with the prior executive director and actually recommended him years ago. And so we were very interwoven. My wife and I had supported it.
And you mentored these people. You used your business acumen to help them operate the organization.
We did. We would do the debriefing, or I would sit in on meetings to kind of give that a little more of a business perspective. There's nonprofits are a social service agency, but there is a business undertone.
There's a business component to it, which is always important to remember about a nonprofit. And you were an entrepreneur who brought that to this organization because you cared about it.
Yes.
It's interesting to me, many of the businesses that we have on the show talk about giving back to Tacoma and how important that is to them.
Very much so.
So you did that, and it's not just the entrepreneur that's starting up a wine bar and running it. Before that, you had quite an extensive corporate experience. Is that right?
For 20 plus years, I worked for different retail corporations.
Like?
Oh wow, Foot Locker, Michael's Art and Crafts, G.H. Bass and Company, Big Dog Sportswear.
Yeah,
different organizations on a managerial level to help the organization be better.
As a problem solver.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you address problems they had and help them get up and running. And then
right, make the recommendations on training programs, hiring programs. Sometimes I was liked, sometimes I wasn't.
Which is sometimes the cost of doing a good job at providing advice they didn't want to hear.
Exactly.
So you have all that experience wrapped up. You have a business of your own, and then somehow you ended up running this organization. How did that happen?
We had a great run at Port 4, and we decided to make a change in life and everything, so we sold it. And I literally was on a little bit of a sabbatical, and the board of Shared Housing Services asked me to sit on their search committee because they were looking for an executive director.
Sure.
And the more resumes would be sent over, and I'd be asking questions and everything, the more I was like, this is something that, I wouldn't mind doing. And my wife even and I had conversations of, she'd be like, you're not thinking of doing it. I'm like, oh no. And then it would change to, well, if they just did this, we can make this program stronger and help more people. On the 11th hour, I actually called the board president and said, how about if I give you my application and resume?
So did you excuse yourself from the committee, the hiring committee at that point? That's good to hear.
I couldn't do both chairs and everything, and I went through the entire interview process. So have you accomplished the things you thought you would? You know what? It's been a very busy 6 months. Coming aboard, one of the things.
It's not much time to make those changes. Yeah.
But we've laid some good groundwork. We have 3 different programs. Our adult home share, we have revamped a little bit and actually have put in a database. So I can sit here and say that we're working 3 times faster, which is 3 times better to get placements and referrals for the adult home share program. And our transitional family, where we have 12 units for families, that also follows the home share program because we bring families in, get them stabilized, and then help them get back out to the work community. We work very closely with Workforce here in Tacoma.
Great, good organization, yes.
Yeah, I was just talking with one of our family participants the other day, and they are going back to school to finish up their CNA program to go into, it's a nursing program.
Oh, great, yes.
And so Workforce is working with us to help them pay for school, and we'll have a nurse in the family, hopefully in about 6 months.
Fabulous.
So we're putting these things out and everything, but the main thing is, as I mentioned earlier, no one knows about shared housing services.
Right, so you're trying to get the word out.
Trying to get the word out, because the more the word can come out, the more we get home providers for adults, and as the population is getting older, many of us have parents that we're seeing getting older, and be thinking of, wow, if we just had someone that was at the home, maybe they don't need a lot of help, but just that peace of mind for you.
Or some help with the rent.
Or the extra help with the rent.
Yeah, that can make a huge difference.
Yeah, so getting that word out to help grow our providers, and especially for our youth program too, because there's a lot of youth and young adults experiencing homelessness, and we do a home program like our adult home share, except we ask that the home provider be a mentor to the youth.
And I've heard that has had some tremendous impact on students that people are seeing out in the community.
We just, what we call is graduation, and we just had a graduate from the program that, I don't want to go into the deep details, but just say literally it was on the streets with many issues, substance issues, and they just graduated because they were enrolling in Washington State this fall.
Washington State University.
Yes,
that's fabulous.
That's a win. And with the youth, this is a way for us to help stem the tide of homelessness being chronic or generational.
And it helps with the educational levels in the community and in so many ways.
Exactly.
This is just such an amazing story to hear how a business person has gone into the nonprofit realm to give back in a way that's going to affect the whole community. And it's definitely part of what makes Tacoma a great place to live and work.
Well, thank you.
Mark, thanks for sharing your story with us today. I know we could talk and you could probably break our, make us happy, make us cry with success stories, but we're out of time.
Fair enough. But thank you so much for having me on to be able to share.
It's been really good.
Good.
Stay tuned. When we come back with Tacoma Means Business, Andrew Fry will give us advice about advice. As a business owner, you deal with a lot of problem solving throughout your work week. Sometimes you simply can't find the answers to those questions. In this edition of Tacoma Means Business, Andrew Fry has some advice on where to go for help.
I find it rather funny that a lot of people are afraid of asking for advice for fear that maybe they might seem that they're not intelligent enough to be doing what they're doing. And the funny part is that it's actually the exact opposite. According to the Harvard Business Review and a study that they conducted, people who actually ask for advice from other people are perceived as being more intelligent. Now, the reason for that maybe is because they're intelligent enough to go asking for advice, or maybe you're feeling a little bit better because they're a peer and you think you're intelligent. There's a reciprocity that goes with it. But the truth of it is, in terms of asking for advice, bottom line, people tend to think you're a little bit more intelligent when you do so. So now that we've established that, let's think about where you can go to ask for advice. It's a very simple thing, and yet maybe if we go through that exercise, something will come up that you haven't thought about. So, place number one, ask yourself for advice. What does that mean? Well, if you're going to go out and ask someone what they think about a certain product, what they think about a certain technique, whether or not they would do a certain thing, what you can do is often stop. Put yourself in a position where maybe you're asking yourself for that advice, or someone had just asked you that, and think and say, what would I say if someone asked me that question? You'd be surprised at how innovative you are when you actually turn the tables and think about the advice that you're asking for. Okay, so that's sort of a cheap way out, but yeah, go ahead and ask yourself for advice. Next up, ask your social network. If you've got a question, go ahead and post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, post it on LinkedIn, and open it up to all those connections that you've created. You might as well use them. They're there. If you got 500 friends on Facebook, maybe one of them has a good idea. And then of course, in my particular case, I tend to use LinkedIn as more of my business advice, and Facebook is my personal advice area. I suppose if you're going to ask your social network, you might as well also ask your search engine. I do this all the time. If I have a particular question that I have, I'll go to Google and I will start to type it in, and there's a couple things that come from that. One of them is, if it's a question that other people have, you tend to see it pop up really quickly. You're halfway through your question and there it is, the full question, only 3 links down from where you started, which means that you're not alone and other people are asking that same question. And if other people are asking that question, there are probably a lot of answers out there as well. Another one is, you might want to establish a peer. What you want to do is think, okay, are there other people I know who are sort of in the same position I am, but not necessarily competitive? So if you have a company and they do auto repair and you do mobile app development, but you're both entrepreneurs in a small company of say 20 people, well, you're going to find that there are a lot of similar questions that you have. Establish a relationship so that you can go to that person and ask them for advice, and then they can come to you as well. In fact, I've known circumstances where people form these peer relationships and actually put it on the calendar for a once-a-week phone call to be able to make that exchange. It's a very valuable area to go. All right, well, let's not overlook family, all right? Let's think about it. Who could we ask in the family? How about one of your parents? The way I look at it, they're older than you, I'm guessing, and probably have had a little bit more experience. Plus, make them feel a little bit better about being sought after for advice. Plus, the truth of it is, many times over, they have a lot of good advice to give. So, never overlook them. And then maybe finally, I'm thinking, well, your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are going to be the ones who are going to be affected by the advice that you take. So you might as well go out to them and say, here's what I'm looking at. This is what I need to know. And first I thought I'd come to all of you and say, what do you think I should do? Get that back and forth conversation going. And again, you've been inclusive. And as I said off the beginning, Harvard Business Review, at the end of the day, the stakeholders will go, boy, that guy's an intelligent sort of a guy.
Thanks, Andrew. For more ways to help grow your business, check out Tacoma's Community and Economic Development Program at tacomameansbusiness.com. When Business Matters returns, we see what all the flap is about at a Tacoma flag company in the spotlight. Today in the Spotlight, we check out what's in the air at Flags of Flying.
I am Kourtney Bailey, and I'd like to welcome you to Flags of Flying.
Flags of Flying is a Tacoma store specializing in pins, banners, poles, and a world of team spirit from football to Little League. And boy, do they have flags.
Maybe I'm a little bit of a flag nerd, but flags are fascinating.
Kourtney says if it's a flag, they have it.
We've been in business since 1996. We carry all different types of flags, flag poles, component parts, and then we have a service component to our business as well to be able to service the Northwest area.
A flag represents pride or passion in something.
We get to be a part of a story. We always say the flags tell stories, and they do. They tell a story, of where it's come from and where you're going, and everybody's story is different.
Kourtney says they carry a flag for every occasion, for every country, for every branch of the military, for all the states, even your favorite college team.
Every single country's flag, a state's flag, even a logo flag for a company is a symbol. It means something to those who are flying or those who produced it.
If it flaps in the wind, then you can bet it's available.
So we have U.S. flags, state, all of the countries, nautical flags. They're in stock, so they can walk in the store and they can pick it up and take it home the same day, or they can call us and they can ship it out, and usually they'll have it the next business day or a couple business days depending upon where they're located.
Flags of Flying features a dual business plan with retail, brick and mortar shopping, along with online sales and service.
The internet has given us an amazing opportunity to have customers place an order any time of the day or night, and for us to be able to get it ready and shipped out the very next day. It's definitely helped our business grow, and I think it will continue to help our business grow, but we never want to lose focus on our local customer base and being an option for them to be able to come in and get what they need and get it in a timely fashion.
But one of the most important components of their business is product knowledge, specifically flag etiquette.
Flag etiquette is probably the top question we get asked about: how to display my flag, how to dispose of my flag or retire it. So there's a lot of things that we feel like we can provide our customers, and we try to make sure that we're giving the best service that we can.
Kourtney says customers ask about American flag protocol all the time. And of course, it is a flag store, so staff are ready with answers.
One of the comments that most of our new employees, whenever they come to work here, always say is, wow, I had no idea how much there was to know about flags or flagpoles.
From favorite local sports teams to their fiercest rivals, you can find them all packed into the Flags of Flying inventory. Customers appreciate the wide range of flags of pride found in the store and on the website. The staff favor a can-do attitude with the ability to explore alternative choices and suggestions.
We are very knowledgeable. We know flags. We love flags. If we don't know an answer to a question, we're going to find it out so that we can make sure that we're getting our customer the right information.
Price points and business plans can fly a business just so far. Without good, dedicated staff, a business can unfurl in no time. Flags of Flying staff like what they do and the products they sell. Kourtney says she's lucky to have such a diverse team.
We have 9 employees. Most are full-time, although we do have a part-time seamstress who does repairs for flags, does applique and sewn designs.
If you ask what's in store on the Flags of Flying horizon, the answer is continued innovation.
We've grown a lot, and we've evolved with the internet and so many other things, and it's just been a really neat venture and opportunity for our family.
Since 1996, this family-run business has been an anchor in the South Tacoma shopping district.
It's been a great location for us. It's centered in such a perfect location between military bases. It's close to I-5, and it's a good city to do business in. We've been very happy with the city of Tacoma.
That's it for Business Matters. Join me next time for more insight into the Tacoma business scene. See you then.